Welcome to rSlash Murderedbywords, where sticks and stones can break your bones, but words hurt a lot more. Dear rSlash Ask Reddit, parents of Reddit, why don't you close the door when you're leaving our rooms? Reply, because saying, son, your room stinks of the month-old cum socks that are clearly stuffed down the side of the bed and you need to let some fresh air in here because I'm genuinely worried at this point that breathing the air that is currently in here technically counts as me swallowing your money shot. It's just going to embarrass us both. Then the user Prodigal Nun adds this in the comments. Next week's Ask Reddit thread. My son has begun leaving his bedroom door open and now the whole house smells like stale cum socks. Please advise. CEO of Wall Street Bank that took $25 billion bailout warns of socialism for everyone else. Here's a list of things corporations have said will destroy the economy. The 14-hour workday. Banning children from mines. Unions, increasing the minimum wage, the 12-hour workday, the 6-day work week, the 5-day work week, not lowering taxes on businesses, lowering taxes on workers at the expense of business tax cuts, increasing taxes on businesses, forcing businesses to pay tax, the 10-hour workday, paying workers extra for working inconvenient days, minimum safety standards for workers, minimum safety standards for products, banning the dumping of toxic chemicals in waterways, the 8-hour workday, banning corruption, foreign workers, American workers, not rewarding CEOs who fail, socialism, ending corporate socialism, the 40-hour work week, the 38.5-hour work week, forcing businesses to guarantee workers more than 10 hours of work per week, forcing businesses to guarantee workers more than 5 hours of work per week, forcing businesses to guarantee workers more than 1 hour of work per week. There's probably more. Tweet by Newt Gingrich. As Speaker of the House for 4 State of the Unions by a president of the other party, I am disgusted and insulted by the viciously partisan actions of Nancy Pelosi tearing up the speech. She isn't clever or cute. Her childishness insults our American traditions. Should be censured. As Speaker of the House, you persecuted a president for an extramarital affair while cheating on your wife. Sit down. Tweet from the Saudi Embassy. Recent media reports that suggest that the kingdom is behind a hacking of Mr. Jeff Bezos' phone are absurd. We call for an investigation on these claims so that we can have all the facts out. Great idea. There was a respected Washington Post columnist who I would love to have investigate the matter, but you killed him. Pedophiles believe they should be part of the LGBT community. I thought the Catholic Church opposed the LGBT community. Ho ho ho. Why are the World Wars called the World Wars when it was only a bunch of white countries beefing over who gets to control and F up the world the most? Why does everything white suddenly become the world? Ah yes, the World Wars were white. Remember the white countries Japan, China, Egypt, Libya, Morocco, Iraq, Brazil, the Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam, Burma, and Ethiopia in the World Wars? So white. Yeah, I remember that from history class when all those white people bombed Pearl Harbor. Post by CNN. For the first time in its history, Starbucks is giving all of its baristas sick leave. Breaking, company decides employees shouldn't come in sick to handle food and drinks. Doesn't want illnesses spread to customers. Lol, we're really praising billion-dollar corporations for doing the bare effing minimum here, aren't we? Fun fact about Starbucks. Starbucks employees in other countries get sick leave. It's only in America that it's big news that employees get sick leave. Tweet by Cardi B. I do feel like if I go back to school and focus up, I can be part of Congress. I have so much ideas that make sense. I just need a couple of years of school and I can shake the table. Then this guy replies, quoting one of Cardi B's earlier tweets. I wonder how pee tastes like. My man Baron Garuda says down in the comments, and I agree with him. Lol, there's no way there aren't at least a couple of people in Congress who don't know what pee tastes like. So I'm sure Cardi B would fit right in. I'm 25 and my girlfriend is 16. We're both Catholic and no passionate hugging till marriage. So much for a pedophile. That's called grooming, you idiots. You, a grown man, are grooming a 16-year-old young girl who's just barely learning how to drive. and most likely hasn't even experienced a job yet. She can't even vote or legally drink, for F's sake. She's not an adult. She's a baby. You're disgusting. Down in the comments, Bully Bumble says it best. Okay, groomer. Weather can't be accurately forecast 7 days ahead, but people believe global warming and climate change will happen. The stock market can't be accurately forecast 7 days ahead. And yet, people seem fairly confident in the predictions that, over time, certain actions are highly likely to occur based on past trends, so it's perfectly safe to assume that 30 years from now, putting money into a 401k or IRA now is a good idea. It's almost as if, and bear with me here, scientific evidence, empirical testing, and strong mathematics can provide a pretty good estimate of future events. Weird. What's really crazy to me is that there are still people out there who don't understand the difference between global climate and local weather. Tweet from presidential candidate Bernie Sanders. There's no state where a full-time minimum wage worker can afford a one-bedroom apartment at the fair market rent. That's unacceptable. Minimum wage, $7.25. $7.25 times 40-hour full-time work week, $290. $290 times 4 weeks per month is $1,160. In every southern state. Didn't have time to look at the rest of the country. You can find some sort of studio apartment for around $500 per month. Sometimes less than that. Why bother lying about something so easily disproven? Because Bernie Sanders supporters aren't going to fact-check him, and they'll ignore any contrary evidence that's presented to them anyways. Things like this really tick me off, and it's not political or anything, but it's the fact that you think all the money is there. Here's what I mean. That weekly check comes to, according to you, $290. Most places do not pay for your half-hour lunch that's required by law. So your beginning number was wrong. $725 times 7.5 hours a day times 5 days a week only gets you $271. Most people in America get paid bi-weekly, so let's double it to get the budget. $543. That's gross, not net. Out of that comes anywhere between 10 and 15% taxes, depending on the state, so we'll lowball it to 10%. Automatically down to $489 a paycheck. Now, health insurance. Usually anywhere from $70 to $100 a paycheck for the cheapest plans. Again, we'll lowball it and go $70. So now we have $419 a paycheck. Times 2 is $839. $839 a month. But again, you seem to think that's fair, so let's proceed. You say rent's $500? Okay. The person now has $339 left to buy groceries for the whole month. Pay utilities, car payment, car insurance, and gas money to get to work. These are the bare needs. You have to eat. You have to pay for heat, water, garbage removal, gas, and/or electricity because apartments don't always include things and rarely all of the above. Most cities in America don't have public transportation. Mine doesn't, despite the fact that our population is over 15,000 people, not counting a taxi. If you have a car, you have to pay that. If you have a car, legally you have to have car insurance. You have to pay that. You have to have gas in that car to get to work to make that money. Now, if you can tell me you can get all of that out of $339, you're lying. You are so focused on rent that you aren't thinking about everything else people have to pay for. Rent was an example. This is a breakdown of the budget you gave me, and it's not possible to live off that in 2017 America. And because this person makes over $800 a month, they probably won't qualify for financial aid or food stamps. $800 is the line in my state where they won't help you. No food stamps, financial aid, or government housing if you make more than $800 a month. Why does it bother you that people deserve to live above the poverty line? I mean, let's ignore the math for a second. I want to know where these magical apartments are where rent is only $500 a month. I would kill for $500 rent. Sanders falters when asked tough questions. He cannot bring himself to completely condemn dictators. Still doesn't get why right-wing talking point on immigration is false. Jennifer, your piece has a major error in it. You say, the question was whether Xi is a dictator. Sanders could not bring himself to answer in the affirmative. Maybe you missed this in the transcript. New York Times, do you think President G is a dictator? Bernie, yeah, I do. Kind reminder, the X chromosome contains 1098 genes. The Y chromosome has only 78 genes. The X chromosome is over 5 times larger than the Y. It's science. Females are superior, by far. Hence, hundreds of years of chauvinism to try to suppress her. Good night. Reply, onions have more DNA than humans. I will never forget when my mom tried to use her cancer to get my sister's boyfriend of 7 years to propose by saying, "Don't make me go to my oldest daughter's wedding bald, Steve." And he looked this woman dead in the eyes and responded, "They make really good wigs now, Joan." Ruthless. If the cancer doesn't kill your mom, that burn sure will. Tweet by Senator Rand Paul. Despite climate alarmist predictions, humans will likely survive for hundreds of millions of years into the future. In the meantime, we should begin creating atmospheres on suitable moons or planets. So, you believe man-made climate change is possible on every planet except Earth? Question, how should I respond to my boss who fired me via email and let him know that I am very disappointed that he didn't have the courtesy to do this face-to-face? We work from different states, but always communicate through video calls. Answer, dear boss, thought you want to know someone has apparently hijacked your email account. The hacker just fired me. Obviously a transparent attempt to make you look like a gutless, spineless, cowardly, sniveling weasel. A cretin lacking the nuts to man up and look his people in the eye while stabbing them in the back. But I'm certain we'll all have a good laugh over this in the morning. Talk to you then. Love, me. Here's a fun fact about when I got fired. Back before I became a full-time YouTuber, I had a 9-to-5 office job. And naturally, I had health insurance through my job. And the way it worked was, at the beginning of the month, you got health insurance for the rest of the month. But my douchebag boss waited until the very last day of the month to fire me. So that literally I had 0 extra days of health insurance coverage. Surprise, not only are you fired, but you also don't have health insurance. Go f yourself. Boomer is the N-word of ageism. Being hip and flip does not make bigotry okay, nor is the derisive epithet acceptable because it's new. Saying your generation's official name is the equivalent of the most heinous racial slur in America is some real boomer shit. That was rSlash Murderedbywords, and if you enjoyed this video, then you can support my channel by hitting that like button because it really helps my channel grow.